One Piece has a ton of super hype moments that make you just lose your mind and rethink everything that you've seen before, rethink how you feel about the story, and really understand the characters more and how they play into the world and the story that they're in. And what really makes One Piece great is the fact that you feel like you're part of the Straw Hat fleet. Like, you literally feel like you're part of the gang, and that's why everyone says, if you don't like Arlong Park, don't watch One Piece, because that moment with Luffy and Nami is really what made people fall in love with the series. Now, that moment is not in my top 5. It's probably would be in my top 10, but it's not in my top 5. So I'm going to get into number 5 right now. No wait. It may shock a lot of you, but Gear 5 is all the way down at number 5 for me, which is actually really high because there's a lot of really insane moments. So why is Gear 5 so low? It kind of took a lot away from it when he lost to Kaido like 5 times and then unlocked Gear 5. It really made me think, like, did he really even beat Kaido? Then at the same time, I wasn't a super huge fan of the whole way they painted the narrative that the Gorosei all of a sudden didn't know he had the fruit, that Shanks just left the fruit on the table, and who kind of implied that Shanks knew about the fruit. That's still up in the air, so that part was a little muddy for me. But what I do like about it is the fact that it perfectly fits Luffy's character, the abilities, even if the fact that he doesn't have a really crappy fruit and a rubber fruit is no longer there, which is what made him really special. It does perfectly fit his character. The way it was drawn was also really cool. And then at the same time, this was 4 or 5 weeks after I caught up to the manga and after I caught up to the anime and then read the manga. So I was super involved in the community at the time, and just the hype around chapter 1044 was crazy. I still remember the resin fruit. The resin fruit still lives on within me. I really did think his fruit was resin, I'm not gonna lie. It's a solid like 7.5 to 8 out of 10 reveal. Just there's some caveats, and a lot of it is based off the cool factor, the cool design, and the abilities, and the story reasoning behind it. I think Oda knew he wanted to inject some hype into the series, and that's what he did. And there was some breadcrumbs he left behind that, you know, maybe he wasn't ever going to pick them up, but he chose to. And I think Oda does that a lot, where he leaves breadcrumbs and he either chooses to use them or he doesn't. Like the shadows in Skypiea, there's a chance that never comes back. Or if you read the manga, maybe there's a chance it is going to come back. And there is hype and evidence around the resin fruit. Man, I really thought it was going to be the resin fruit. Moving into number 4, Doflamingo's speech at Marineford. People are somewhat torn on Doflamingo. Some people think he's a super generic villain, and then some people think he's super cool. Part of the super cool part is because his character design is sick, and just his demeanor is really sick as well. And getting into it, I can't not take into account backstory we got in Dressrosa. So I'm not going to be looking at these like isolated instances, just as I did with Gear 5. When you get his backstory, it really makes his speech about the winners being the one that tell history hit even harder, and his speech at Marineford just made One Piece feel a lot more political, which I really liked, and added a new spin to the story that weren't there before. So that political spin, that historical spin, I really enjoyed, and it was just the delivery of it was also super sick. The voice actor went crazy, and Dofi really is one of the best characters in the series for me in that way, because he has a really tragic backstory, and you can believe after his dad made them choose to leave heaven to go back to normal people and they tie him up on the wall, you can believe why he is the way he is and why he's a broken man, and also how he gets this family behind him. Understand that at Marineford, why he said what he said just hits all the more harder. And just what my preference and what I like in characters, one, Dofi is cold. He got that walk is definitely cold, that Conor McGregor walk. And then he also is just a character that would appeal to me in a lot of ways, just based on what I like. Number 3, I don't know if this is like low, but it's number 3. Robin's I Want to Live was so sick. That was one of the biggest climaxes in the story to that point. It is the biggest climax of the story to that point. Robin was a pretty mysterious character. No one really knew she was like really good or not, because you remember in Water 7, we see her and she seems to be doing her own thing, and she seems to have betrayed the crew. Sanji obviously doesn't believe it. Then all of the Straw Hats pull up, And then you see them shoot the flag, and Robin chooses that she wants to live. She wants to live and live on with the crew and sail on the ship. And essentially at that moment, she's like an official Straw Hat, even more so than before. When you're binging it, you knew that not too long ago, like probably like a month before, that Zoro wasn't trusting Robin, and that Robin was this really up in the air character that seemed to be on Crocodile's side. So to see that transition in what a lot of people's favorite arc in Water 7 and Enies Lobby, if you combine the two, if you don't, was just an epic climax that set up some great fights, and you knew you were about to see a lot of power-ups, and you see a lot of power-ups from that moment. So coming at number 3, that's I Want to Live. I don't think many people have it much lower than 3, but that's where it is for me. Number 2, I think we all know what this is. Nothing Happened was just the best moment. For one, because Thriller Bark was ass. I hated Thriller Bark. That arc sucked. I don't care if the story was good. I don't care if there was good themes going on. I don't care about the symbolism. It was beyond boring. And then you get Kuma pulling up at the end, and you're like, okay, finally something cool. Because you just had this whole Halloween gig going on, and then Kuma takes all the pain from Luffy, injects it into Zoro. And at that moment, you're like, okay, you kind of knew Zoro would do something cool. That's pretty cold. He taking all the pain, kind of weirdly transition to the day, and you're in Sanji's perspective, and he sees Zoro go to Kuma at the end before he passes out, and you just see him, and Zoro's all bloodied up, all destroyed, and he's just like, nothing happened. He knows that that's the role as the vice captain. He has to look after his crew just as much as Luffy does, and he has to look after Luffy as well. To take on that pressure, to take on all that pain from Luffy, really shows his loyalty and makes you appreciate the characters and the dynamic they're building even more, because every moment just feels more and more severe. And then, like I was saying, you got to take in other stuff too. It makes them losing his Sabbaty even more impactful, because you know that they're willing to do anything they can for each other. For them to lose to Kuma again after Zoro did all of that really made you think, because from a story perspective, you may think Zoro is about to win an epic rematch with Kuma, and then he just gets destroyed. So all of the moments surrounding Nothing Happened elevate it even more and make you really appreciate Zoro as a character and the dynamics within the crew even more. The big dog, number 1. I know we only got 500 subs, but you know, you guys should have watched my best moment in One Piece video, so you should know what I'm about to say. Of course, Luffy punching the Celestial Dragon is my favorite moment in the series by far, blown and away. By the way, just for a disclaimer, I watched the anime up to like a little bit into Onigashima. From that moment, I transitioned to the manga, so I experienced this moment for the first time in the anime, so I saw it go full manga panel, and it was epic, because Luffy does not care. He will defy anyone if he does not believe it is right. And that's what makes Luffy so special. But honestly, a lot of shonen characters have that trait. You don't understand the scale of actions like this in other shows, as well as One Piece did it here, where you see Carlos is walking around before this. He has slaves. He has all these people scared to even defy him. He has all of the other big rookies scared to defy him. So it just makes the moment hit even harder that Luffy is willing to do anything for anyone. And it was just epic. That's the only way to put it. It was epic. So let me know what you guys' top 5 is. I don't know if mine is like super off. I don't know if this is pretty common. I feel like this should be common. Maybe Gear 5 is a little low. But also, let me know what you want in the next videos. Let me know what I can improve on. We're still just getting started. So, like I was saying, we're just getting started. We're going to stay consistent, and I'll see you in the next video.